So I was just talking about some of the things that keep us stuck in the mindset, and I do want to talk about perfectionism, practice, not perfection, and that we can easily procrastinate. We can easily talk ourselves out of why not to do something, even though we want to do it, and that's how we get stuck, and that's how we get um, into sometimes yo-yo dieting. We're on and we're off. And the second thing that I had a little sticky note for about 2 years, I should probably put it up here again, right on my desktop, which is delete the need to beat yourself up. How many of us are harder on ourselves than we are on our family, our friends, our loved ones? How many times do we say, "Oh, I can't believe you did that, Lisa," or "How stupid are you?" Or we're not stupid, we're not lazy, we're not weak. We're all human. So think about what you're feeding yourself this next week, not only in food but in thoughts. What messages are you giving yourself? That is that self-limiting belief that's gonna keep you stuck. And you know we'll do a whole session on stress, but stress isn't what happens to us in life, because we all have stuff happen to us. Stress is our reaction to it. How are we going to view it, and how can we flip that switch? Um, and I've gotten a lot of calls, from, I put this out to my family, my loved ones, who I always want to, I invite them when I'm doing a group. Many have been asking or kind of on the fence. Family and friends are the hardest, right? They're the hardest. You want so much to give them, help and support, but they're often the most resistant. So I've been getting a lot of the bargainings, or the what if, or do I have to give up this? Do I have to give up my salmon? Do I have to give up my coffee and the cream? You don't have to give up anything. But I am going to encourage you and challenge you to have an open mind and see, can we upscale that coffee and cream? I do have on full script some mushrooms with collagen creamer that you might want to upscale or switch out or try, because mushrooms can help you with weight loss as well as inflammation and all kinds of things. I'll do a whole session on that. Or you might switch to green tea, which is less struggle on the adrenal glands, because we want to lower stress. This is not a stressful thing. This is going to be fun, nourishing program. It's not about dieting and deprivation. It's about really improving our lives and living younger longer, not painfully. Living younger longer, happier. And do I have to give up my salmon? Salmon is a big one, because I love salmon. And I'm thinking anything that you are feeling an emotional attachment to and you have to have every day or many times a week or something, that's just something to look at as a relationship. Maybe have salmon once a week instead of 5 days a week. Salmon is fattier. So if you have a lot of weight you want to release, and we want to get in the releasing phase of lowering our fat, just for this 4 to 6 weeks. Like I say, I'm not a fan of low fat long term. And I will tell you honestly, today on my salad, I broke my fast early because I played tennis and was late and ate really early yesterday, so I wanted to eat before this call. And I opened a can of salmon with in water, packed in the Wild Planet with that, and that's what I put on my salad to feed my brain. So we're going to give you guidelines. I'm a guide. I'm a coach. And it's up to you on what your goals are, on what you're going to do in this program. And if you do decide that this is what I really need and want this morning is the salmon, I'm not going to beat myself up because salmon isn't on the list. Okay? So, any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I found it very helpful to strictly follow the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So that I could measure my results based on the program that you and these professionals designed for
Mm-hmm.
this. And I did it. I don't think once I'll really think, but I don't think once the entire time that, and I think we did it 9 weeks before
10 weeks. Mm-hmm.
10 weeks, 10 weeks. I don't think once I deviated from it.
Mm-hmm.
And until the end, when I was walking a lot and riding my bike and everything, and you said add in 2 more ounces of protein for one meal for lunch, and at dinner add in 2 more ounces of vegetable,
Mm-hmm.
which will help sustain your energy longer for your activity. I just found it very helpful to follow the guidelines strictly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I enjoyed it. I mean, a couple of times I was really hungry by the time dinner rolled around, and I was like, I'm waiting until 6 o'clock to maximize my time frame. But so I was really hungry, and I ate, and I was satisfied with less food at that meal when I was really hungry. So um, it was good to see.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. So Heather is our rookie and has been through this before and is our model, model to follow here. And we are all different. I actually do a little fun scale that for my clients at DISC, DISC, to see where your strengths are. And Heather is the ones who want the plan. They want the menus, the recipes, the guidebook, have all that. And we have all that in the program. I'm the one, the rule breaker who will not follow our plan. Give me the big picture, give me the gist, and I'll do that. So, and I could choose to beat myself up because I didn't do it exactly the right way. And that's what I'm wanting to emphasize, that to honor our strengths and our challenges, because we all have them and we're all different. And we're all in this together as a group. That's the value of group programs, and to share what works for you. What works for Heather is to just do it. And I invite you to try that and do it, because the plan has worked for thousands of people. I'm not the only one who's doing this program, and it's been really beautiful to see people's responses. And but also give yourself some love and and compassion if we don't do it exactly right.
Lisa, do we continue
any
on
other
our
comments?
existing supplements and vitamins?
Oh, that's a good question. Now, I haven't met with you to even see what supplements and vitamins you're on. But I offer that to look at that and then have that discussion with you individually. For many, I say this is a good time to take a break, especially if you've been on a lot of supplements for a long time. I have some clients that come see me that, oh, I saw a nutritionist 10 years ago and this is what they put me on, and that's why I'm taking it. And, I believe supplements are supplemental. And diet is first and paramount, and that's what we're working on here, is to upscale the diet. For some people who may not be used to 12 ounces of vegetables a day, when they change your diet, especially if you used to a lot of foods that you might have food sensitivities to and are reacting to, you might get some constipation. So I did put some magnesium glycinate or citrate. Citrate is the more stimulatory one. Oh, here's Leslie coming on. So I did put that as a recommendation in my full script account. So with this program, you get access to my dispensary where you get a discount on high quality supplements. And for many, I think it's always a good idea to take a little break from your supplements, so you can see and reevaluate, are these right for you right now? Because most supplements are supplemental, number one, and two, they're not meant forever. As we get older, I do take a multivitamin and a fish oil and a probiotic. I think that's a really my insurance policy for a lot of people. But even if you want to take a break from those things during this, especially the first, the releasing phase, it's a good time to do that. And then you let you decide, because my goal as a coach is for you to be your own best healthcare advocate, and nobody knows your body like you. And each one of us are really different. And so we have different needs. So we're going to be talking about the broad things that all of us can benefit from and why. And the other thing as a coach is I really always want to encourage you to question everything. Question what I say, question what your doctor says, because nobody's like you. And we do have in our HIPAA compliant, secure, Practice Better platform a chat feature where we can share and ask questions. And I really encourage you to do that, because, and not to be shy about it, because you have a question, so does somebody else. And everyone will benefit from the question and the answer. And you can do a personal chat as well as a group chat. I really encourage you to try and just put it in the group chat too, for everybody's benefit, because it's likely somebody else is asking me the same question too. So today I wanted to talk about intermittent fasting, hormones, and digestion. All three really critical things. And why is my thing not moving? Okay. Oh, I'm not diagnosing, treating, or curing. It's for educational purposes. Yeah, I would always give my legal disclaimer. So we're going to talk about lessons learned, successes and obstacles from anybody who's done the loading phase. If you want to share, I gave my little story about that earlier before the call. We're talking about the 10 benefits of intermittent fasting, which is part of our recommendations. The two most important hormones that are really going to control our success here, other strategies for success, and is intermittent fasting for everyone? This is another good question. We don't want to overdo anything and create more stress. This is to lower stress. Did you want to share about did you do the loading phase?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did do the loading phase. It was hard to eat that much because I think I wasn't trying to do like high caloric enough food. So I was just eating a lot of food. But yeah, it's all come off in this first week, I think. So it was an interesting experiment.
Yeah. And I really want to urge everyone, when you do, for those who are about to do the loading phase, on Monday morning, do a little video of yourself about the experience, because it is an interesting, different experience. And for your own benefit, it would be good to do that video. And then want everybody to really get clear on your why. Why are you doing this? Because this is going to keep your motivation up. And share that why. And I'm going to ask you to share it in our chat too, because then we have each other to keep us accountable on what our whys are. Thanks for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So fasting has been utilized for millennia. I mean, we as a species had periods of fasting. And there we have in our system many hormones that protect us from undereating, but there's only one that helps us with overeating. You know, we as a species, we're not designed to have a 7-Eleven and access on every corner of food, much less fake and fast food. So we're designed to fast and not to overeat. And cortisol is highest in the morning, or should be. A lot of my clients, when I test their hormones, are flatline cortisol, because the stress has been so long for so much that it's like tanked. And that's where you get to the point where I got to have my 2 or 3 cups of coffee in the morning to get out of bed. Then I need my wine at night to go to sleep. And we get into this more vicious cycle. But it should be highest in the morning. and it raises your blood sugar, gets you up, and that's when you go and hunt and gather your food. We didn't eat right away. We had this high cortisol to get up and when we woke up to work. And the melatonin is low then. Cortisol is high. Should be the opposite at night. And we'll do a whole session on this. How to make sure we're in that right rhythm where the melatonin rises and we can get good deep sleep. Cortisol raises dopamine, which is what we need for focus. What an epidemic we have with ADHD, right? There's a reason for that. Eating and metabolizing food takes energy. I was sharing when I did my loading phase, grazing and eating is kind of fun, but oh my God, I just wanted to take a nap all day. It takes more energy to break down that food. So if we're eating small meals all day long, we're using a lot of energy that we could be using for a healthy, active life just to digest that food. Digestion is strongest around noon, which is a better time to eat. My mother's family, my mother grew up on a farm, and the biggest meal of the day was at noon. Get up early, you go feed the chickens and the cows and work out, and you come for the big meal and then at noon, and then a little meal, soup at night. But our food industry and our marketing has convinced us otherwise, that we got to have that high sugar foods and coffee in the morning. We got the Starbucks on every corner. You deserve a break today. Go get a, sugar thing of coffee and yada, 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 which is, this is how I felt. This is my picture I put on the chat after my 2 days of floating. And you think about it, that's what bears do. They load up so they can sleep through the winter. So eating early interferes with our focus. I do find if you start intermittent fasting and you want to fast, have the fasting period in the morning, you might feel like you get a whole lot more done than getting up and starting with that coffee and the donut. You can't eat and heal at the same time. It uses different processes in the body. So keep that in mind too. Continual feeding interferes with the state of rest and repair. And this is why it's really important not to eat 3 hours before bedtime, because you don't want to go to bed and still have to digest your food. When you're in bed, that's a cleanup time from 10 to 2 particularly, is when the liver and the gallbladder and you have proteolytic enzymes the pancreas secretes to go like Pac-Man and eat up all rogue viruses and bacteria and cancer cells. Burning the candle at both ends will increase the risk of cancer. Not having enough sleep is a huge risk factor. So I do encourage you to put on the chat, how do you feel after 2 days of loading and your experience? And if you can even do a little video and share, that would be awesome for you. Whether you want to share it or not, I encourage you to do this, and you can upload it into your own portal or just keep it yourself. Just keep it yourself so you can look back. What we don't measure, we can't celebrate. So we really want to measure our success here. And to Heather's point, that's really a good reason for following the instructions. So we can really measure and say, is this effective and why? So it's one of the most potent ways to remove toxins from your body. So this is what I'm passionate about. We live in a toxic world, the air, the food, the water, the stressors. Intermittent fasting gives you that time for the body to do the cleanup and get rid of extra toxins. If you have access to an infrared sauna, that can really improve that too. You're local, you're welcome to come use mine and just send me a text. When you are fasting, your body burns fat for fuel. It's a process called lipolysis. And many toxins that we do have, especially the endocrine disrupting chemicals that are affecting our hormones, are petroleum-based, they're oil-based. Even our medications often have PEG and petroleum products in them, which is stored in fat tissue and not good. So the process of lipolysis helps to mobilize the fat-soluble toxins that are stored in the fat, which is many of them are typically around the belly, sometimes in the brain. So when we do this, we're going to clear up our brain as well. We don't want to release too much fat too fast, because doing so can flood the liver. these toxins have to go through the liver. I want to make sure that you are not constipated. And that's why I put magnesium in the full script account. We want to be having at least one, preferably 2 or 3 stools a day, because that's where all the toxins are going, especially the more you're releasing. You may need to go to the bathroom more often. You may be urinating more often because it comes out in the stool, the urine, or the sweat. Epsom salt baths is really a great way to get ready for bed, reset your metabolism, absorb magnesium and sulfur. Both are really important for that phase 1 liver detoxification. So I invite you, this is all about self-love. Give yourself time every evening, a ritual to take a nice Epsom salt bath, take a book, bring a candle if you want, 20 minutes, and get it as warm as you can to sweat. And then you can rinse yourself off in the shower afterwards because we want to remove the toxins we've just sweated out. Reishi mushroom, I talked about, maybe upscaling the coffee to a mushroom tea. It also helps to flush out the toxins so they don't recirculate back in the body. If you do have a detox reaction, headache, acne, skin breaks out, let me know. And we want to slow down the detox, or I've got other support things they can help you with, because we're all unique. And this is why people often regain the weight on the yo-yo dieting, is because they have lost all this weight and, forced to lose it. Then they've released all these toxins. And now we got to worry about the toxicity and what the toxicity has done to the body. So we're doing this slow and gentle over a 3-month period, safer. I used to do, and I still have that, my 21-day kickstart. And I used to talk about, it was big fad to talk about detox. I typically don't want to detox until we heal the gut. You want to heal the body first and get the body first before we get into a heavy detox. So if you're having a detox reaction, it's called a Herxheimer's, do let me know. That's not the goal here. Another benefit of intermittent fasting is autophagy. Autophagy is that cleanup, that cancer cleanup phase. It's where the body goes out. Like I said, the proteolytic enzymes actually chew up the cancer cells or the damaged cells. And we all have cancer cells in the body. It's just like there's weeds in your garden. We just have to do 2 things. Weed them by giving yourself this intermittent fasting time, and get really good quality soil. You have the nutrients in the soil, your healthy plants are going to flourish. You have the right nutrients in your body, your body is going to flourish. It's really the same. So we want to take out the trash and remove these rogue cancer cells. We want to detoxify your cells and recycle the parts, get rid of what's no longer needed. It's really great for the skin, for anti-aging. You will feel and look better when we've gotten rid of the garbage. And it's really good for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and any neurodegenerative diseases as well. When you fast, you reduce, now we're talking, we reduce insulin levels, and your body no longer receives the signal to store extra calories as fat. So insulin is the hormone from the pancreas. And the other thing is we have this epidemic of both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. When I graduated from nursing school over 40 years ago, there were 2 types of diabetes, juvenile and adult onset. We didn't call it type 1 or type 2 because we never saw insulin-dependent diabetes. We didn't grow into that. We thought you were either born with it or you're not. Well, now we're seeing insulin-dependent diabetes, type 1 diabetes, in older and older people. It's where the pancreas is so damaged that you can't make your own insulin. And so the pancreas is really important for insulin production and glycolysis, which is storing extra glucose for fat. So we're seeing now in kids fatty alcoholic liver disease because of this sugar, excess sugar that's in the blood that is stored in the liver as fat, and it looks like alcoholic liver, like they've been drinking for years, and we're seeing this younger and younger. So getting back to nature, the natural thing of having an intermittent fasting helps with this insulin and glycolysis levels. So when you do notice that you've got excess fat, particularly around the liver and the pancreas and the belly, that's been linked to not only diabetes but cardiovascular diseases and cancers. Fasting can raise your metabolic rate. We want to stoke the fire. We want to have good energy. So it can help our thyroid. If you're on thyroid medication, you may lower the need for that medication. If you're on diabetic medication, you may lower the need for that medication. So be sure that you're working with your doctor and letting us know then, and being aware. You know, this is a process of teaching you, again, to be your own best healthcare advocate and to know what's right for you and your unique body, and to make adjustments in food, supplements, medications based on what you're needing. So it trains your body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar and glucose. And most of us are addicted to sugar. We need that sweet. We think of sweet as a treat. All of our processed foods are made hyper palatable, and we're all addicted to sugar. And rats are more addicted to sugar than they are to cocaine in the studies. This is how addictive sugar is. And when it was brought into the being in the 1700s, into the Americas, it was put under lock and key because they recognized it made people crazy. Now we're feeding our babies sugar in their formulas and the baby foods, and we're we really, and so one of my questions on my nutritional assessment questionnaire is, do you feel good when you eat sugar? And if you answer yes, as most people do, well, it's not normal to really feel good after sugar. It's like shaky, a bolt of energy, just like caffeine or even alcohol. The first time you drink alcohol, you feel different, right? But we have this process called homeostasis that the body wants to maintain balance. And so we will adjust to whatever challenges we give ourselves. So we need to retrain the body to burn fat and not sugar, because when we're in sugar, we have this burst of energy and then we have a crash. We have mood swings, high and then low. We have focus high and then a crash. So we're going to have a much more calm, even existence. It also preserves muscle mass and helps you become leaner and stronger. That's what we want. We want good, lean energy. It reduces insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is two things raise insulin. Insulin is what the pancreas secretes. It's a hormone to unlock the cells, to allow the glucose, the blood sugar, to get into the cells. And so the cells need glucose. We need sugar. We need fat. We need protein. And insulin manages the protein too. So when we have this fasting period, it gives your pancreas a little chance to rest and produce less insulin. And it is one of the most powerful strategies to prevent and reverse insulin resistance, which is, of course, a precursor to diabetes, obesity, heart disease, neurodegenerative disease, cancers, most of our chronic diseases. So you may have come here because you want to release weight, or you may have come here because you want to prevent or reverse disease, or have clearer focus, and all kinds of reasons. So the insulin is the hormone that tells your body whether to store it or burn it, the extra sugar. And the high carb foods and processed foods will tell the blood glucose will increase. Glucose, it increases the insulin. And then after a while, the body kind of says, we're crying wolf. We can't have, sugar all the time, and they just become a little more deaf and resistant to that. So the way to lower insulin glucose is to lower some carb intake. And when I talk about carbs, I'm not talking about your green leafy vegetables, which are great carbs, which will give you that instant energy. I'm talking about the breads, the pastas, the artificial things. I'm a big fan of bean pastas, and there are some really great gluten-free breads that are options that I love. So again, it's not about dieting or deprivation, but having the right balance. So when insulin levels falls, your body gets to the cue to release energy, so you start to burn the fat in the stores. It will help you with better sleep. We have to have this natural circadian rhythm, which most of us have gotten off track from. And I'm going to do a whole session just on sleep. And I already mentioned you want to stop 3 hours before your bed. So you might start intermittent fasting 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Just don't eat after 7. And you might find, some people find really great success avoiding that snacking in front of the TV. Just to give your body the night snacking. And, you know, if you want something, if we've got this oral fixation, do some herbal or sleepy time tea, call a friend. What kind of stimulation are you missing? You know, walk the dog, pet the dog, you know, get a massage. Looking at all these other things that we may be really, really hungry for. Yeah, it will improve your gut health. We have more bugs in the gut than we have cells in the body, and by a factor of 10. So we're more bacteria than we are cells. It's really kind of amazing to think about, and it's 80% of our immune system is in the gastrointestinal tract, in your gut, and it determines how you're processing your cholesterol. It makes your dopamine, your serotonin, and your melatonin, your feel-good hormones, your hormones for focus and for sleep. These are all made in the gut. Your vitamin K is made in the gut on how you clot or not. And it's all influenced by the diet. And so we're really going to be feeding the gut the right food, and the intermittent fasting is going to help nourish the bugs in the gut too. It helps it reset it and helps reduce that leaky gut. So many of us have food sensitivities because we have intestinal permeability. If we have leaky gut, you're going to have leaky brain. And when we start, and this is, I have even had clients with auditory hallucinations, and bipolar and schizophrenia go away with cleaning up the diet. It's who knew? Who would believe that? I never knew that as a nurse. So intermittent fasting can boost your mood, improve your memory, and trigger a new generation of neurons. When I was in nursing school, we were taught there were only so many brain cells, and once you if you drink too much or do too many drugs, you're screwed, because once they're gone, they're gone. And we know now this is really not true. We can regenerate even liver and brain cells. And there's a great book, How to Prevent and Reverse Alzheimer's by Dale Bredesen, which talks about a lot of this and how all the holes that we have to plug up to improve and to prevent Alzheimer's and cognitive decline, which is becoming more and more epidemic as we age too. So the first few hours of sleep, the brain shrinks actually to regenerate, like it's wringing itself out to repair itself. And if our body is busy digesting food, it may interfere with this regeneration. And this is not true just for the brain, for other regenerative functions in the body. So deep rest is really important, and intermittent fasting will help prepare you for food. So it also optimizes the heart. It decreases that that abdominal fat, which is a major risk factor, not only for cardiovascular disease, but that neurodegeneration. Fat is an estrogen factory. Most of my clients who come with perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms and feel like their hormones are out of whack, it's not that they have low estrogen. They have too much estrogen and they're not being able to clear it, because estrogen is made not only in the ovaries, and maybe the ovaries are going down now, but estrogen is made in adipose tissue and it's made in the adrenal glands. It's a precursor to the estrogen and progesterone, actually the hormonal cancers like prostate, breast, and ovarian. This is really important to know your levels and to know how are you detoxifying them. I really like the Dutch test, the dried urine test, which can look at 24 hours of your hormones and are you getting rid of them. And so excess estrogen can create this vicious cycle, making us want to store fat too. So we have to get our hormones in balance. The bigger the belly, the smaller the brain. So that's a ouch, kind of a harsh reality, especially for some of our men. This extra fat actually decreases your hippocampus, which controls our learning and our memory. So if you have brain fog, you walk in a room and you can't remember why you walked there, why you went into that room, that's a common symptom of stress, too much stress, but it can also be some of these imbalances. And increase energy. When you fast, you burn fat, and fat is like a log on a fire. It's hotter and longer than a gasoline fire. A gas fire is just like the sugar. But when we train our body to start using fat for fuel, it's really important for the brain, and it gives you much more clarity in the brain, and it gives you more energy. So you're an athlete and you want to continue to be the best athlete you can, you want to burn fat. You don't want to burn sugar. So, oh my God, don't get me started on a lot of these energy drinks and these things that are sold at health clubs to fuel you. No. That are really sugar laden or caffeine laden. If you have a little bit of protein and fat 20 minutes after working out, that's going to help with eat up that lactic acid that is released from your muscles and give you what you need. I also like electrolyte drinks, and we can talk about that later too. Stem cell production. This is really good also for cancer prevention, as well as new stem cells, new skin, new joints, new muscles. You know, the stem cell is where we grow new tissue and repairing our tissues. So it's important for the prevention of cancer and apoptosis. Apoptosis is cancer cell death. We want to get rid of what we don't need, and we want to rebuild the new version of you. So what you do today determines tomorrow. You know, we are like a photocopier every day. And if we want a weaker vision of ourselves tomorrow, just feed ourselves crap food, toxins and stress. If we want to have an improved picture of us tomorrow, you're going to put in what your body needs. You're going to put in that high quality ink, the good clean food, and give yourself time to rest and repair, to defragment the computer at night, per se. It improves the stem cells in the gut too, which maintains that gut barrier. So we see so many autoimmune diseases from, and this is one thing I've healed myself, and I have a group called Vanishing Vitiligo for my autoimmune disease. It all starts with leaky gut. Stress, toxins, aspirin, birth control pills, Motrin, so many things that in there, chlorine, fluoride in our water, in our air. All these things damage the gut lining. So fasting helps give it time to regenerate that. And when you have leaky gut, the undigested food and proteins get into the bloodstream and create antibodies against it, and that causes systemic inflammation, and it's the root cause of all autoimmune diseases. That's another little factoid. When I graduated from nursing school 40 years ago, just 40 years ago, we had like 5 autoimmune diseases. Who knows how many we have now? Over 100 identified. So our genes haven't changed in my lifetime. Our diets and our lifestyle has changed. So we want to slow down aging. We want to live younger, longer. So when traveling and there's nothing to eat, skip the meal instead of poisoning yourself. Take your water bottle that's either glass or stainless steel and fill it with clean filtered water. And we do know studies that when we restrict our calories, we live longer. So I know we've been programmed to think we have to eat 3 to 5 meals a day. I'm suggesting otherwise. But like all change, the goal is not to add more stress. So let's not be overachievers here. Who here falls into the overachiever? We want to start with 12 hours. We're not going to do 16 right away. 16 might not be good for you, especially women. Men do better on a 16-hour fast than women. We don't want to add more stress because we want to give the message to our body that it's safe. It's safe to release and relax. If we're stressing the body too much, so long-term fasting can increase your cortisol instead of decreasing it. We don't want to overdo it. More is not better. In fact, I have a new client who was doing 16, 18 hours of fasting a day, and I said, and couldn't stop bleeding, perimenopausal. No, now is the time to lower the stress everywhere we can. I want you to eat more and eat more iron-rich foods, and we got our iron up actually very quickly. I was very happy about that. So if this feels stressful to you, the suggestions I'm making, listen to your body first. As I say, question everything. So we're going to start with 12 hours, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Somebody asked me, well, what if I want to eat early instead of late? And this is what I did. When I'm playing tennis in the evening, I want to eat before tennis. I don't want to wait and eat at 8 or 9 o'clock. So I might eat at, if I have clients in between, this week I had the only window I could eat was 3:30. So I had my dinner at 3:30. And by the next morning I woke up and I was starving. I was ready to eat. So, you might break the fast first thing in the morning and then stop, 7 to 4 or something. And, or you may decide you like to fast in the morning and move it from 7 to 7 to maybe 10 to 6, to 8 hours. You can move it up that way. Any questions on that?
So Lisa, because I haven't started yet and haven't read anything, so you're saying you don't eat beginning 7 o'clock at night until you wake up the next morning, until usually I don't eat until after I work out anyway. So that's more like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're already doing it. You're already doing some intermittent fasting.
Okay. I thought it was during the day. I was like, I thought,
No.
okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you can't have tea or water or your drink in the morning. Did you have a question, Heather?
I was just going to say the same thing, Susan. Because I don't eat breakfast, so I don't eat at 7 a.m. and so I eat usually between 10 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my first meal, my second meal is usually between 5, 6, 7 o'clock, somewhere right around there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
That timing. Okay.
And you should feel satisfied between, you know, for at least 3 or 4. If we're eating the right food that our body needs, it's energizing, it feels good, and we should be able to go 3 or 4 hours at least between meals without feeling hangry. If you're new to this, you may have some blood sugar issues. It may take time, and that's why I'm saying listen to your body and feel what feels good. You may have some blood sugar dysregulation, and this can help with that. But we want to do it in a safe, easy manner, not too much, too fast. And then we're asking you to weigh yourself every day, in the hope that this is motivating and gives you some feedback. And no, there's a lot of things that affect weight. It can go up and down. This is something that I don't normally do or ask my clients to do because I think we can get too fixated on weight. If you start this program and this really energizes you so that you're starting to do bench presses and you're turning that fat into muscle, your weight could go up because muscle weighs more than fat, which is, to me, the most important thing is to take that the measuring tape I gave you and measure. Measure especially around the belly, the arms, you know, the thighs, the hips, where even the neck, especially for men. Men get these big, thick necks. And how your clothes are fitting are going to be so much more important than the scale. But this can be a way of just what we focus on is what we get. If we're focusing on, you know, keeping us kind of on the goal. And I do encourage you to use the journal and to write and document your progress in there for your own benefit. And notice, again, this is a practice. Am I beating myself up? Or am I feeling good about what I'm doing? And the goal is to really celebrate what we are doing. Hey, I got up and I had energy to make my bed this morning. Or any little difference that you notice. And then food, of course. So for those who haven't done the loading phase, we want you to eat as many calories as possible. And that's another thing, I never count calories. The calorie in a can of Coke is not the same as a calorie in a good green smoothie, right? Calories have really nothing to do with, there's a lot of myths around calories, and we've been too focused on calories. But for 2 days, you get to count your calories, and no more after that. And the goal is to get these calories up to reset your metabolism. And in doing so, I urge you to focus on high-quality, organic, gluten-free, high-fat, because fat has more calories, real foods. Fat doesn't make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. But they do have more calories. And I have a sample menu for you. And if you are diabetic for sure, or have that tendency, you want to focus on the high-fat foods. And if you don't have a gallbladder, or you have gallbladder issues, let us know that too. We may need more high-calorie foods than fat. You may instinctually not eat high-fat food because without a gallbladder, you don't have bile acids that are excreted at the right time to really digest the fats in your food. So most of my clients, most everyone who's had their gallbladder removed really needs some extra digestive support, ox bile or bile acids. Because the liver will kind of drip it out. You know, you've taken out a major organ for digestion. And that is the number one and two surgeries in the U.S. is cholecystectomy, removing the gallbladder, and gastric bypass. That isn't the sad state of affairs we have. Just shrinking the stomach, as if that's gonna do anything. And so the loading phase, you know, I had 3 eggs and bacon and gluten-free toast. I think one day I went to Silver Diner after tennis. I met Doug at Silver Diner, and I asked for their eggs Benedict on salmon and gluten-free toast. And that's gluten-free, and the sauce is gluten-free. So anyway, Coconut milk ice cream, yeah, I had that. Nuts, grass-fed burger. Here's just a sample. Nuts, avocado, ribeye steak, sweet potato, kale. I love these kinds of foods, and I do eat a lot of these foods, but we're just giving the body a rest. We're going to eat these first, and then we're going to give the body a rest for them to get the digestion reset too. So it's normal to gain weight on these 2 days, so don't freak out about that. It's a normal, unhealthy part of the process, and those who fail to really do this don't get the dramatic weight loss. They don't get that flip, the switch. So as Leslie's already shared, she did start releasing the weight in the first week. So don't, if you're afraid of the gaining weight, that's another thing to look at in our relationship with food. Because many of us get in that dieting mentality where we just are starving ourselves all the time. So enjoy the loading phase. Really relish it, enjoy it. It's a main part of the program. And then the releasing phase, take your measurements, before we start on day 1, before the loading phase, and then the releasing phase starts day 3. That's why the weekend is a good time to do the loading phase. Take your measurements, as I said. You want to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So, because we want to start flushing out the toxins, and often we are thirsty. We think we're hungry, but water really satisfies the hunger, the thirst. And I love putting lemon in the water. Lemon gives you a little more alkaline ash in the pH of the blood. It stimulates digestion, and it gives you vitamin C. And we have a food journal. 3 ways you can do it. You can use the document that's PDF fillable, so you can just write right in there, the journal every day that's in the Practice Better. There is a separate journal you can do in Practice Better where you can take a picture and just upload it. That's kind of fun, and see your progress. And this is only for you to see. It's not shared with the group. Or you could download the journal and save it on your hard drive, or you can print it out and have a hard copy. And those who journal, and what we focus on is what we get. So they lose an average of 50% more than those who don't. So if this is a new thing for you, I'd encourage you to try it.
Lisa,
Yeah.
I will say the journaling part on the website, the Better website, it was interesting because I would put in my lettuce, my salad, and it pulls up what nutrients are in everything, the breakdown, which I was shocked at. Some of the things I was eating had a lot of carbohydrates in it, even though it was broccoli, and how much magnesium and protein and all the different minerals that were in it. So it really helped me learn a little bit about what was in the food I was eating.
Yeah.
And it calculates calories and fat, everything. It was really interesting. I enjoyed that part.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. And the other thing it does is it asks you your mood before and after eating. And then you can start to correlate the connection with food and mood and see. And then you have the little wheel there of the carbs, the fats, and the proteins, and say, oh, I didn't feel as good, or I wasn't as satisfied when I ate it was all carb and too little fat or too little protein, or vice versa. Some of us feel better on more carbs. Some of us feel worse on more carbs. We're all different. And I'm doing one of my groups. We're looking at continuous glucose monitors, and how some people can have a high carb diet and it doesn't change their glucose at all, and others it would make it shoot through the roof. So it really does prove what we know about bioindividuality, that we're different. So you can really learn a lot by using these tools. Thanks for sharing that. And I want to say, there's so much out there, so many myths and so much noise about keto diet, vegan diet, vegetarian diet, paleo diet, low carb diet. There's no one diet for everyone, and there's no one diet for you at all ages of times of your life. At different times, we need more or different food. But carbs, fats, and proteins are not bad. Cholesterol is not bad. Cholesterol is needed to fuel the brain and to make all of your sex hormones and your stress hormones. If we don't have the cholesterol or enough cholesterol, you're not going to have any libido, and you're not going to be able to deal with stress, and you're not going to have much energy. So we have to stop demonizing food and natural things in the body and look at them in balance of perspective. We need all three: carbs, fats, and proteins for a healthy self-and diet. We're going to minimize some of the fat for only 4 to 6 weeks so we can reset the metabolism, kind of clean out the sluggish liver and gallbladder, give our bodies a little break, and then we're going to add it back in. And some of you may choose to even continue with some or more extra fat, depending on what your goals are. Does that make sense?
How long is the releasing phase?
6 weeks. And it might be 4 weeks for you if that's enough, you know? So in this program, this is suggestions, and then you kind of decide. It's just like with my daughter's cancer treatment, you know, which they wanted us on this. We did a juice feast, and it got to the point with like day 12, 13, I'm saying, this is enough. We have done enough. Don't you think, Dana? What do you think, Dana? When with the doctor, and we said, I think we're ready to bring food in. We cannot live on juice, green juice alone. I do want to say, Trader Joe's has a green juice that's organic, that's $5.99 a quart. And you can't make your green juice for that. If you and I love green juice for energy, and that's another thing you might replace your afternoon coffee with. If you're really having trouble with energy and fatigue and early on, if you're addicted to coffee and sugar to keep you going, Trader Joe's green juice, I'll take a picture and put it in the thing. It's only 4 grams of sugar, and it's really great energy, and it's carbs, of course, because it's greens, and it's cucumber and celery and a little bit of kale and grapefruit juice and lemon, I think, in it. So the plan, and as Heather said, it might have to be tweaked a little bit for you, depending on your energy level, but it's really to start measuring out. And I was surprised. I was used to eating double the food, and how satisfied I was with 4 ounces of lean protein, vegetables, and fruit. And how much 4 ounces of blueberries is really enough to be satiating. And unlimited amount of free veggies. So if you feel like you want more food, you want a bigger belly, you know, your belly to feel full and satisfied, if that's not enough. I saute garlic and onions and bok choy. And if you can tolerate cruciferous vegetables, it can be really healing as well. And, you know, I make a big batch of that, or there's a lot of free vegetables. You can have as much salad as you want, green leafy vegetables. So it's not this is not about dieting and deprivation and being hungry. It's really about rethinking, and you see what's missing here is mostly the fake food or the crap. We're eating more of what we need. That's real food. That's more like a paleo, what we naturally approved. So you don't have to weigh the cucumber and the lettuce and the salads. And because you're freeing up the nutrients from the fat stores, you're not going to feel much hunger. Oh, I forgot. And I always forget to take this. There is a weight management formula drops. And these are homeopathic drops that are adaptogens. So they're really good for your adrenals and your thyroid, your endocrine system. And it can help curb hunger as well, and help you just feel more balanced. So 5 to 10 drops up to 3 times a day. And really, this is what I always say to all my clients. Optimal health is not complicated if we do these 3 things consistently. Maximizing what your unique body needs. So this program is not just about food. We're going to talk a lot about other ways to maximize feel-good hormones, minimize toxicity and inflammation, and prioritize self-care. So just showing up, being here, committing to the Reset program is prioritizing care. So I want to really thank you and congratulate you for doing that. All right. So any questions?
Mm-mm.
Well, Lisa, I'm actually curious about the glucose monitoring because I've been thinking about that too for a long time, but I haven't really done it. Is that something that you're going to start suggesting for a lot of your clients? I mean, what is it like? You're getting a lot of good information, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's a really good question. In the US, you have to have a doctor's order to get a glucose monitor, which is
Okay.
sinful.
Right.
Because by
Yeah.
the time you need that glucose monitor, if you're insulin dependent, we could have prevented this 10 years earlier. Oh, I also want to say, but there is a company that is doing these studies in one of my functional medicine groups and had offered, and I've signed up for it. I've emailed the owner a couple of times saying, I want to be part of your pilot, and I want to be able to get this for my clients and have my groups as part of this pilot. He's the one who, as he's developing this in his pilot, and it's for consumers. He's creating a glucose monitor for consumers, you know, that you wear on your arm. And it was interesting. The tech guys were on a discussion group saying, you know, I thought I'm a bodybuilder. I eat healthy. I thought it was doing all the right things, but he learned a lot from his glucose monitor, and he learned that he does not do well with any carbs, whereas his coworker, a woman, could eat as many carbs as she wanted without any ill effect in the glucose monitoring. And so it really did, you know, and their development proved this, that we've already witnessed as health coaches. So this program is motivating me to go back and see if I can get that for us. I also have ordered some other gadgets, and that's what it's going to be another topic
Okay.
on how we self-monitor ourselves. So there's a lot of wearable devices.
Right.
There's
Right.
the Aura Ring. There's a Happy is the one that I've tested out.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of the Apple Watches to wear 24/7 because it's a lot of EMF and it's a lot
Right.
of, you know, so I'm going to do a whole talk on that too, but it's a lot of
Okay.
constant bombardment,
Yes.
interfering with your peace.
Yeah.
Right. You know, to be that accessible for everybody who ever wants to ping you is will not decrease your stress, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, any other questions? I'm really excited. Thank you, Heather, for pushing me, motivating me to put this out here again, and thank you all for joining. So you all have access. Leslie, you do. I know you've posted a little bit too. So thank you.
Yep.
But, Practice Better is the best way for us all to communicate and stay as a group. And we're going to do these calls every week at 11 o'clock, and they will be recorded. And I really encourage people to come live and listen live. I think you'll get a lot more benefit than trying to squeeze it in later.
Will they be every Friday at 11 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. And what is Practice Better? Is it a website? I haven't gotten there yet.
No, when you register, you'll get the invite and you'll get all the download of guidebook. I can
Okay.
show you if you want briefly. It's fairly new for me. I've only been using it for within the last year, but it's a HIPAA compliant portal where we can communicate and share content and I'll show you my view as a developer, and yours may be slightly different, but metabolic reset. I'll share the screen here. Oh, and I'm running a little over. Here's a preview. So this is when you sign up. Oh, I need to change my. I put in the video from today will be here, or an intro video. Here's the instruction manual, and it just talks about a lot of what we've talked about, the different phases, how it works, why doing intermittent fasting, the general guidelines, pros and cons, measuring, taking pictures. We do want you to take pictures. Again, what we don't measure, we can't celebrate. And sometimes we just don't recognize the changes in ourselves as much as others do. And then the loading phase, just what we've talked about today, releasing. And then there's the approved foods and the free vegetables, non-approved vegetables, approved fruits. So all the guidelines for the food, a sample meal plan. Oh, sample shopping list, which is helpful. Where do I get started? Go buy these things and put them in the refrigerator for Monday morning. Preparing meals, some tips. Some people just don't cook or won't cook, so I am going to put a list of food by mail. How to get over plateaus, common mistakes to avoid, and then when we get to the maintenance phase, week 6. And then something about skin tail. And then we've got another book, which is our recipes. And I'm splitting that up right now. I've got it all into one. But I've got all the recipes. Just way down here. Oh, recipes. So soups, beef, poultry, seafood, vegetable, sauces, shopping tips, and then recipes that you can choose from or create your own. The other thing, we have little motivational stuff you can print out. Oh, the journal. The journal is in here too. I don't want to, which is really important. And I'm going to break this up into 4 documents. It's one thing I'm having a virtual assistant help me with to make it look a little better. So here's and I'm changing the word losing to releasing. So you can mark what you eat in your own journal here, mushroom tea, or you can use the app, which gives you all the detail that Heather was telling you about, which I actually like the app better. But there's also handouts for each week. And so I gave you a lot of information today. Here's it in a summary of what we talked about. So, instead of taking notes, you got the notes right here. And then you can reflect. What did this mean to you? What did you learn? What do you want to remember? So sometimes we have to hear things 3 or more times before they kind of stick. So notes. And then next week we're going to talk about the autonomic nervous system, which is really important. How to get out of the fight or flight, the sympathetic, and get into the rest and repair, rest and digest phase. So, and then you've got notes for that. So it's already there. You can follow around the notes or write notes for you want. So, oh, heart math is one. I actually not doing the heart math. We're going to do digestion for week 3. But we can do a whole session on gadgets if you want. So this is your group too. And I want this to be a lifestyle change, not a diet. And what are the tools that are going to help us be successful? Yeah. Oh, I mean to wake him up. All right. So have a fabulous weekend. And send me a text or a chat if you have any further questions.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.